Hi guys, in this video I'm going to go over how to add a chart using VBA to a worksheet. Before we do that, go to excelvbasequel.com. You could see a lot of hours of video, almost 17 hours right now. If you want to download the code that you see in the video, it's only $19.99, and enter your email here so that when free videos go up, you could get your email and you could get you could be notified. I can answer questions. Just contact me here. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so let's say we have a workbook that looks like this. I have a year column that goes from 2001 to 2011. I have a revenue column that goes for every year. I have a revenue amount. Then I have a cost column that is just a percentage of this revenue, and a commission column. So for every year I have a revenue amount, a cost amount, and a commission amount. Now what I want to do is add a chart programmatically to this worksheet. So we can do that pretty easily. Let me go into the Visual Basic environment here. If you don't know how to do that, you just put your cursor on the worksheet, press Alt F11. Once we're there, I'm going to go Insert Module, and I'm going to create a subroutine called Sub Add a Chart. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be dealing with charts, specifically adding a chart. So we're going to deal with a chart object. So we could declare that. We could declare a variable called ch as a chart, and you'll see here, chart is an object. You can actually declare a variable as a chart. So now we have a variable ch as a chart, and we're going to use this a lot. And what we want to do is create a chart on the worksheet, and that chart is going to use data. So it's going to use all this data: year, revenue, cost, and commission. So when we normally create a chart, let me show you something. When you normally create a chart, if I go to Insert, actually let me do Macro Recorder. I want to show you, if you do Developer tab, Record a Macro, and you click OK here, and then you go Insert Align Chart, you get a blank chart here. And then if you go to Select Data, and let's say I add a series name here, and I add a series value here. I'm just going to select the series here. I click OK. And I'll click OK. So now here's my revenue, right? There's my revenue. You could see the name here is revenue. That's because I selected revenue up here. Let me also change the horizontal axis. So I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to go select this axis here, and then I'm going to click OK. So now I have a chart, right? I have revenue, I have year on the bottom, which is cool. And then let me add another series here. So I'm going to go Add, and this series name is going to be Cost, and the value for cost is going to be this. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to click OK again. So now I have cost and revenue. But notice the type of this chart is sort of a stacked chart. So I'm going to right click on it and go to Change Chart Type, and I'm going to go here, and this is a stacked line. I just want a regular line chart, so I'm just going to go here. So now I have a better picture. I have revenue, which is up here, and I have my cost, which is here. But notice that it's pretty easy to change the chart type. You know, I could go in here and change chart type. I could make it one of these three-dimensional charts. So, but let me just change it back to, I'm pressing a right click, by the way. I do right click on the chart, and I get chart type. I change chart type to whatever I want. Okay, cool, but now I don't have titles or anything. So to do that, up here in layout you have chart title, and I'm going to do centered over the top, and I'm going to name this historical numbers, And then I want to add, move the legend. I want to move the legend to the bottom, okay. And then I want to add a couple axis titles. So I'll put a horizontal axis below here, and I'm going to name this year. And then I'm going to do a axis title for a vertical axis, rotated here. I'm just going to put USD. So now I pretty much, let me make it a little bit bigger. And there we go. Okay, so this is pretty much, let me move this down a little bit. Okay, so now we have a very nice looking picture. We have our axes are labeled. We have a legend down here with revenue and cost. We have a title for the chart. Very cool, right? But that took a long time. And remember, we were still recording all this in a macro. So if I press stop recording, now all those actions are recorded, and I could press Alt F11. I can go to the Project Explorer and go to Module 2 here, and I could see all this code. I mean, just a ton of code, right? And if I scroll down, you'll see more and more code, just crazy amount of code. But all this code generated exactly what we want. And this is actually how I learned to do this video. I didn't know how to do it before, so I just did the macro recorder, and I saw what was going on. I recorded this macro, something similar to this macro, and I saw, okay, well, if I want to add a series to a chart, a line to a chart, I have to do this, active chart, series collection, new series. Then I have to give that a name, and then I have to give that a value, and then I have to declare the X value, the horizontal value. And then if I want another series, I have to do sort of the same thing. So this would be like series collection 1 is my first line on the chart right here. These 4 lines put one line on the chart, and then these lines here put another line on the chart. So you see here it says series collection new series. So you could see sort of the chart has a bunch of series, and it holds them in a collection. So let's say you have 100 lines on your chart. Your collection is going to go from 1 to 100. In our case, we have 2 lines on our chart, so our series collection goes from 1 to 2. And you could see for each series you need to say new series, and then you have to give it a name. And notice this is going to refer to the name that this is going to refer to cell C1, which is right here, cost. That's our name for this series. And if you're curious about what a series is, this is a series here, just this highlighted range. It's a time series or a series of numbers. You could think of it either way. Then you have values for your series here, right? And then you have, okay, so what are the values for the series? Well, the values go from C2 to C12. Well, here's C2 and here's C12. So you could see it's very intuitive. This macro recorder makes things real easy to see what's going on. It also says you could set a chart type. First we experimented with a line chart, and then we experimented with a 3D line chart. And then what we did is set a title. Okay, now here you could see it says active chart.setElement title. Well, let me just go through these lines. We selected the plot area, we activated the chart, which means we probably selected it, and here we again selected the chart area, and then we changed the chart area from 3D line up here to XL line, and so on and so forth. But then here we actually did this set element. Now this is kind of curious. What does this set element thing do? Well, it's sort of put the it actually did put the title over in the chart. So when I first saw this, I said, oh, this is interesting. it says active chart.set element MSO element chart title center overlay. Like I have no idea what that meant. So what I did, I just did some Googling, and if you Google this stuff, a real good place to Google is this MSDN, which stands for Microsoft Developer Network .microsoft.com. If you go to this URL, you could search for anything, and it sort of is a library for all kinds of Microsoft products. And you could see that I searched for MSO chart element type. Now this was after some searching. Only did I find this after I first searched for .set element. So I first searched for this on this website, MSDN. I put search .set element in here, and then some other article came up, and there was a link to this MSO chart element type. And this basically shows me that well, let me just do that. I'll just do .set element. I'll do search, and here we go. We get our results of our search. If I click on this, I don't want to do chart sheet. I'm just gonna go down until I get to this one. Chart.set element method Excel. So if I click OK, why did I select that? Because it says Excel in the parameter, meaning this is for an Excel application, and it has this MSO chart element type, which sort of looks like this MSO element, but then it's a little bit different. So what do we see here? Well, we see that this set element, it comes to this page, .set element method with Excel as a parameter. It sets the chart elements on a chart. Okay, so that gives us a lot of information. And the parameters are this. The data type has to be a MSO chart element type. So I then know that whatever I'm passing in to this parameter has to be of this type, this MSO chart element type. So that's why, how do I know that again? Because of this parameters, right? Whatever the parameters are in this .set element, they have to be this data type. And that's what this sort of MSDN site tells me. It tells me everything about like any function in Excel or anything you want to see in Excel. So then I search for this, and sure enough, if I click on this enumeration, MSO chart element type enumeration, basically what it tells me is that all these members in this enumeration could be parameters in this function here, and all they do is do exactly what we saw. They put a title on a chart, or they put a primary category axis title adjacent to axis. So let's see, MSO element primary category axis. Let's see here. So here is that exact MSO element primary category axis title adjacent to axis, or title, yeah, title adjacent to axis. So this is a member of this enumeration, but there's also like hundreds of other things. You could see there's just a ton. But what is going on here? I mean, to give you an intuitive interpretation, these are parameters that are passed to this set element function. These parameters are of type MSO chart element type. That's what they are here. This MSO chart element type is this enumeration. You could think of it as like a collection of members, and there's hundreds of members down here. They all deal with the chart, like setting titles for the chart or setting legends for the chart. Do you want to display above, below, beside? Where do you want your axes? All kinds of things. And you could see that even the recorder is using this stuff. You could see like this MSDN website is very useful right here. So go there, and I would I would tell you to check that out, because when you see something like this, set element, MSO element primary category, like what the heck is that? Well, we just found out. This, whatever's in parentheses here, belongs to an enumeration called MSO chart element type, and this is a member of that enumeration. And all it does is it sets a axis title adjacent to the axis. And then you can play around with the axis title. You could set it to year by doing this. Active chart.axes, XL category, XL primary. This stands for XL primary. This stands for the primary axis, and then set the title of that. So dot axis title, dot text, year. So it's pretty intuitive. Once you get going through here, it's not really difficult to know what's going on and all this stuff. Okay, so I apologize if that goes on too long, but what I really want to stress here is that if you don't know how to do something, use the macro recorder. And this is a prime example of how you can build a chart and then it'll give you a ton of information. So, okay, what we're going to do is clear this out, and we're going to do this from scratch based on me sort of looking at that code here in this module and only taking the parts that I want to take and sort of sharing that with you. Okay, so what we're going to need to put a chart on a worksheet is an object that is a chart. So we declare an object, dim.ch as chart. Notice that we also need data for our chart, and you could see that in the recorded macro we have these values. So here's our series collection. We're going to have series collections. We're going to have a series collection for every line that we have on our chart, and we're going to do new series, and that's going to put a line in our chart, and then we're going to have a name for it. A name meaning what is going to be what's going to be the legend, the name in the legend, and then we're going to have values for that. But notice it uses the actual sheet. It uses the address of the range, like B2 to B12. I don't want to do that because I don't want to hard code this stuff, because I want my thing to be dynamic. I want my chart to be dynamic, so that if someone adds another row down here, that it doesn't throw off this hard-coded value. What if someone puts a value in B13? Well, then the values going from B2 to B12, it won't catch any data that goes in here for the next year, like 2012. What if someone puts numbers in here? So I need to make this dynamic, and how I'm going to do that is, instead of using the hard-coded values like this in parentheses, like equals the name of the sheet, and then the little apostrophe, exclamation mark, the name and everything. I'm not going to use this format. What I'm going to do is name things. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go in this on the worksheet. I'm going to put my cursor in A1, and I'm just going to do this, year header. I'm going to press enter. So now I named a cell year header, and then I'm going to press rev. I'll put my cursor in B1 and press rev header, and I name another cell, and then here I'm going to put a cost header, and then here I'm going to put com header. Okay, so now I have references to these four cells with names. I just named the cell. Now I want to reference the data. So how do I do that? Well, we can do something like this. I know that I'm going to have values in this column, so I can use a named range by doing this. I'm gonna go new name, and I'm going to do something like this. I'll just do year. I'm going to call this, I'm going to name this named range year, and what I'm going to do is do equals offset, and I'm going to do offset A1 comma 0 comma 0 comma count A, and I'm just going to go down here, and then I want let's see, comma 1, and I'm just going to press OK. I'm also going to copy this. I'm going to press OK. So now I have this bit of data in here. But for the x-axis, I don't want this year in here. So all I have to do here is do -1. And now, if I do close and click OK, and I go back in, my year range oh, actually, sorry. I wanted to put that right here. So I'm going to click close. Do you want to save? Yes. Name manager, year. Okay, so this named range, actually I did want that -1. Oops. And you got to be careful when you're doing these named ranges. It's kind of tricky. But here it is. Offset cell A1, 1 row. So I want to start 1 row below A1. I don't want to offset any columns. Then how far down do you want to go? Well, I want to count the number of cells in this range. That's what this is doing. Count sheet 1 AA. -1 so that I stop right there. And 1 column, the first column. So I'm just going to click this and click close. Click OK. Now I have a name called year that refers to, if I click this little toggle, it refers to this, which is exactly what I want. I have a range called year that refers to my x-axis. Cool, very cool. Now I can just copy this and I'll do another one. I'm going to do revenue. And this is going to refer to this is going to refer to I want to go over, let's see, how many columns do I want to go over? 1 column. And if I click OK here for revenue, let me see. Yeah, there it is. So all I did by just changing this offsetting of the column here, now I have a range called revenue. And I'm just going to copy this again. And I'm going to click close so that it saves. And then I could do 2 more ranges. One for cost. And now I'm going to go over 2 columns. Oops. So all I need to do is change this to 2 and click OK. And then my cost is exactly what you see here. And I'm going to copy this again. Close. And I'm going to open it up one more time, and I'm going to put commission in here. And I'm going to offset this again. Change this to 3. Click OK. And let me see if it worked. Yes, it did. Okay, so now I have names for every range I'm going to use on my chart. Now, why did I do that? Do you think I'm wasting time? I'm not wasting time, believe me. It's really put yourself at an advantage, because if someone adds a year here, and I'm just going to copy this down. If I go and I look at my manager, my name manager, well, now year refers to exactly what I want. So it's dynamic. You see that it expanded down here to row 13 without me having to do anything. And if I look at my cost, again, it's dynamic. It expanded all the way down. So this is a cool way to work with ranges in your worksheet. You don't have to do anything in your VBA code. You could just refer to a named range, and it will reflect because it automatically updates. Okay, so now we have a chart object in our VBA code, and we also have a bunch of named ranges on this worksheet that refer to our data that we're going to need. So now what we want to do is we want to create a chart. Every time we run this subroutine, we're going to create a chart. So if there is a chart that exists already, we want to delete it. So I'm going to do this: active chart or active sheet dot chart objects, and then you put the name of your chart. So I'm going to name my chart is going to be named my chart actually, and then I'm just going to do dot delete. Okay, so the first time we run this, we don't have a chart yet. So if I run this, we get let's see, we're going to get an error, and there's our error because this chart called my chart doesn't even exist yet. So to get around that, I'm going to do on error resume next, and that'll get us around that the first time we run it, we don't have to worry about the chart not being there. If it is there, if there's a chart there called my chart, it'll delete it, and then we're going to create a new one, which is what we're going to do right now. So let's add a new chart, and that's what we're going to do. So I'll put it in comments. And how do we do that? Well, we do this. We do set ch. Now ch here is this chart object variable. Set ch equal to active sheet dot chart objects dot add. Okay, now we're using this function add that is part of this chart objects variable, this chart objects object. There's the function. You could pass parameters to it. What are the parameters? Well, they are the distance from the top and the distance from the left. That's what these are. The first one is distance from the top in pixels, I believe. So 200 pixels from the top, 200 pixels from the left. And then the last two parameters are the size of the chart. So I'm going to do 600 by 300. And that is the width comes first. So this is width and this is height. And that's it. So we're going to add a chart. So let me just clarify that. In here it'll be top and then left and then width and height. So that's what is in parentheses here. Wait, these four numbers, they correspond to this. So if I run this now, there's my chart. You see that? And if we look at it, it's 600 this way width, and it is 300 this way. Okay? So notice that when you add a chart, you have to specify a location. So if you don't know where you're going to put your chart, that's kind of a problem. So let's keep moving. So now we added a chart. Cool. Now we can do a big with statement. So we're going to do with ch, and then we're going to do end with. And what we want to do first is set the chart series, or chart type, I'm sorry, equal to XL line. Now this is important because when I was playing around with this, if I tried to change the chart type to something else, it would give me an error if it was something like a 3D charts, unless I initially did this. So it seems like I had to set the chart type to XL line initially. So that's why I'm doing this here. I'm just I'll put a comment here, set default chart type. Okay, now we move on. Now we're going to add a series. And remember, we saw in the code that in the macro recorded code, they use this thing called series collection, and they did new series. That's exactly what we're going to do. And we're going to do series collection 1. So this is the first series in the series collection, and then we do dot values, and this is going to be equal to let's see, we're just going to do range revenue. Now what is this range revenue? Well, this is the named range that we used. And then we're going to do something here. After you put the values, you got to put the X values. And for the X values, remember we use range year. And then for the name of this series, we're going to use, oops, sorry. Yeah, that's right. We did rev header. So now we're using our named ranges. So rev header here is this, rev header. And revenue is this. And year is this. So we're really using those name ranges a lot. So if I delete this chart and let me run this, and let me scroll down. Let's see. Actually, let me name this chart. And to name the chart, you have to do this: parent dot name is equal to my chart. So now we can run this. And let me also move this instead of 200, and let me make this 250. So if I run it again, oh, it didn't delete the. Let's see. I'm just going to put 100, 100. If I do select data here, sheet 1, G11, let me go in here. I think there might be an issue with our named ranges. I need to put values here. That's why. So if I run this now, series 1, series collection, 1.values is equal to range revenue. Let's see. Range revenue. Okay, that's good. We have to keep going a little further. So let me put this down there. Has title is equal to false, and then has title equals to true. So this is one thing that I found, is that sometimes I needed to set this to false and then to true to make the title come through. And then we could do chart title is equal to historical report. And then we could do something with that set element. We could do set element, and then we can do MSO element chart title above chart, and we could do set the element to move the legend to the bottom. MSO element legend bottom. So remember, all this is doing is setting an element on the chart. And besides that, we want to set the horizontal axis So to do that, we do MSO element primary category axis title adjacent to axis. That's what we want. Now we could set the axis title by doing this dot axis, and then we do XL category XL. You can see here, if you have two axes, a primary and a secondary, you have to specify dot axis title dot text is equal to range year dot value, and then we could do. So let's just step through this and see what we have going on here. So for this chart title, I need to put chart title.text. There we go. And if I step through, let's see. I'm not sure why this series is not showing up yet. Let's see. So our series is not showing up, so this is a good debugging exercise. So I add my chart here, chart objects, add, and then I go with ch, not chart type, add a series. Okay, series collection dot new series, series collection one dot values. So we can test this out by commenting this out, and we could test it out by doing something like, well, we could go back to here and we could just take the values right out of here. There we go. If I go back to this, I paste that here. Now if I run this, oh, I don't get a, oh, why is this, so this is sort of strange. Oh, you know what? Well, it's been worth it. It's been really worth it to do this. I didn't have the dot chart here, so sorry about that. So if you are still there, if you didn't give up yet, you can see we do have something, and I clicked the macro and it ran. Now the whole problem was, this was the whole problem. Why didn't we get anything on our chart? Is because I didn't have this. I didn't have that. I had active sheet.chartObjects.add, but it didn't put the chart. So that affected everything below. And I bet you if I commented this out, I would have seen that. So I would have seen that, because if I stop doing this and I run it, there you go, type mismatch debug on that line. I would have saw it right away. So there is danger in the environment when you do this. On error, resume next. And I'm doing that again because I want to delete this chart every time. So okay, I apologize profusely for putting you through that, however many minutes that was. So let's just see. If we run this once, we get a chart. If we run it again, how many charts do we have on the sheet? We only have one. So it is working. Okay, so this is what we have so far. We have a chart with a title and an axis and a legend, two axes really, and a line chart. Now let's look at the code. The code, we were moving along pretty good there. Here we added a series using our values for we put the revenue in there. We put the X horizontal axis in there. We put the name of that series called revenue, which comes from this right here, rev header. Then we said it has a title, and the title is historical report, and we said that the title is above the chart by using the set element, and we said the set element put the legend on the bottom, and the set element made the axis title adjacent to the axis. That's where we stopped right there. Actually, no, we went one further, and we said the XL axis title is going to be year. And now we could do something a little bit further. We could do axis XL category dot select. And we could do selection dot orientation. Actually, select. We could do selection. So what I want to do is turn the axis in a different orientation. I could do selection dot tick labels dot orientation equals XL upward. So what this is going to do, if I run this now, it turned the axis labels from horizontal. You see 2001 is vertical now. Well, that's due to this right here. This line, these two lines. I select the axis on the XL category, and then I turn it XL upward. And you could turn it XL downward, I believe, or XL horizontal. I mean, you could do a lot of different things. And now I want to do the vertical axis. I want to set a vertical axis. So here is like dealing with this is setting the horizontal axis. Now let's set the vertical axis. And to do that, we do the same thing. Set element. We do MSO elements primary value axis title adjacent to axis. Notice, when you have the horizontal axis, it's a primary category. When you have a vertical axis, it's primary value. So the value, which is what is displayed on the chart, is this blue line. And this is like the horizontal axis that falls under the primary value axis versus the primary category axis. So when you set horizontal, you deal with primary category, set vertical, primary value. Now we can do dot axis XL value, comma XL primary, dot axis title, dot text is equal to USD, and I'll put a $ there too. And then, yeah. Um, look at what we did here. When you set these axes and the titles of the axis, your horizontal axis is you do dot set element MSO element primary category axis. And when you, the important keyword there is category. Horizontal axis is the category, and when you want to name it, you do axes XL category axis title dot axis title dot text. And because it's the only axis, it's not there's no secondary axes, you do comma XL primary. So it's axes XL category comma XL primary dot axis title dot text, and then you put the whatever's going to be here. It's going to be year. So if I run this now, let me just show you. I gotta press this and go back in here. Let me take this off for a second. I'm going to delete this just to make sure that I have everything spelled correctly. And here I get take that off. Run this. I get an error down here. Let's see, why is it erroring out? I get XL category, XL primary, axis title dot text. I don't think I need that. So let me get rid of this. And if I run it, this should be what is this? Year header. That's why. So this will work now. If I stop this and run this, XL value, XL primary. Actually, this one should be XL element primary value, axis title, rotated. So if I try to run this again, sorry to this isn't the best video, but it's also not the easiest video either. I mean, these charts, you saw how much code there was, but now we're going. We're cooking now, as they like to say. Okay, so we have our axes labeled. We have year down here, we have USD over here, we have our values here, we have years on the bottom, we have a title, we have a legend on the bottom, and that's all due to all of this code. Okay, the problem that I just had was I had this MSO element primary value axis title, and I believe I had adjacent to axis, but I didn't want that, because on the vertical axis I needed axis title rotated. Then I could put the axis title text as USD. Notice again, okay, sorry, horizontal axis has primary category, and then when you want to set it, when you want to set the title, you do axes XL category. So versus axis XL value and primary value axis up here. So there's little distinctions that, well, what is a category, what is a value? A category is what's going to go down here. A value is what's going to be displayed in the chart. So now our chart looks pretty good. All we have to do now is add a couple more series, and that's relatively easy. I'm just going to copy this stuff, and I'm just going to do this twice. What I'm going to do is go, series collection dot new series. I need to do that to add a new series, and then I just go 2. I change this to 2, and I change this to 3 because I know I'm going to have 3 lines, and I know that the values here is just going to be cost. The the X values are still going to be year. The name of this is just going to be cost header, and then here it's going to be commission and com header. So now I should have 3 series now. So if I let me delete this, and if I hit play, there's my 3 series. So now we're really doing good. We have a chart that is automatically created. It's automatically assigned a position on the sheet. It has 3 series of data. They are labeled with the legend. They have axis titles. We rotated this value here. We put the title over the top. Okay, very cool. What more can we do? Well, let's see. Well, let me take this off because I'm confident now that it's going to be working. But notice that when you use this on air resume next, you have to first get it working. And when it's not working properly, as we totally saw, I shouldn't have had it on yet until I was confident that it worked, because I messed up on this, right? I forgot to put that, and it took a couple minutes to figure that out, that wasn't working. But now it's working, and if I do this again, now it's going to delete that chart and create a new one. So I just do that, and every time I run this, it's creating a new chart. Notice that there's only 1 chart on the worksheet. And how does it know to delete that? Well, that all comes from this my chart. This is the name of a chart, and I set that name, way earlier in the video, down here with .parent.name. Why is it .parent? Well, if you just use .name, the name refers to the actual chart object, not the chart here. You see how we have chart objects here? This CH is a member of these chart objects. So you have to do .parent.name, which is basically sort of setting the value of that name in that collection. So that's why you have to use .parent. This name is attached to the parent. It's not actually attached to that CH object. Name is not actually attached to this. It's attached to one of the objects in this collection. Okay, so one more thing that I think would be, a couple more things actually that I think would be good to see, is that if you want to apply data labels. So do you know what data labels are? Series collection. We could do series collection 1 dot apply data labels. And how did I know to do this? Well, if I run it, now I have data labels. These are the values here, 383,000. So now I have data labels on my chart. That's cool. What about positioning the data labels? So to do that, you first have to select them. So I do this. I do series 1 collection 1 dot data labels dot select, and then I do selection dot position equals XL label position above. So now if I run this, it's going to change this position to above. See how they went above here? And you can move these data labels above or to the left, above, left, right, etc. If you're curious on all the things, go to that MSDN site. Here's the MSDN on the series collection, by the way. It just says use the series collection method to return the series collection. Basically, it's saying within a series collection you have a series, and every series has an index. So you can see series collection index, where index is the series index number to return. That's what we're doing here with this series collection index. It's an index. Again, this MSDN forum is really good to learn a lot of things. So we saw now that we can put data labels on a chart. That's cool. I could put them on for all the other series, and I would just basically copy this, put it down here. But what do I need to change? I just need to change my index, right? So if I run it now I have my data labels on 2 series, and I could do that for the 3rd series as well. What if I want to change the chart type? So to do that, the best way, unless you want to go to MSDN and look at all the chart types and Google that, or not Google it, but search for it, most likely here, or you could Google it, either way. A quick way to do it is to do what we did before. So what did we do before? We recorded stuff, and we could see here that there's a chart type XL 3D line. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm just going to change this to that. I'm going to do dot chart type equals XL 3D line. Now I'm going to keep this one up here again because I ran into problems when I started this video when I first did it because this wasn't set as a default. So I'm going to leave this the way it is. And now if I run it, I do get exactly what I want. I get a 3D line chart. Let me take these data labels off because I think they're sort of getting too crowded. So I'm going to take the data labels off. I'm going to rerun it. There's my line chart. Cool. If you want to see all the other chart types and like how to program them, what I would do is go to the developer tab, record a macro, just do macro 4, and just put a right click on the chart and go change chart type, and then click here and click OK, and then click here and go to change chart type again, and go down here and click this, click OK, and then change chart type again and click back to this one and click OK, and change chart type again to this one, click OK, and then you could stop. So basically record a macro that'll change it to whatever chart type you want, and then go in the code, and here you see all your chart types: XL markers, XL column stacked 100, XL line stacked 100, XL line. So we could use, I believe these turn into percentages or whatever, but you could see that if I use that macro recorder in a smart way, it's real easy for me to figure out, okay, I want to do this. How do I do it? Right there, I just did XL markers there that have these markers on it for every point. So let me see if there's anything else to cover here. Not really. So let me summarize the video. Again, I apologize for that little delay that was due to having this on error resume next, and I had an error, and it was hard to catch because when you have this on error resume next, it's not going to alert you of any errors. So I eventually figured out that I was missing something, and it was this dot chart. And that was why none of my values were showing, or any of my axes. Okay, so first of all, first point, be very careful when you use this. Make sure your code is working before you start using it. So comment it out initially. So here, if you want to delete a chart, use dot delete. Next point is to add a chart. You set the distance from the top of the worksheet, the left of the worksheet, and then the width and the height here. Remember to use this dot chart. And to change all the elements and add series to the chart, put it in a with statement with the chart variable, which you declared up here, with the chart variable. This is a chart variable ch. You declare a default default chart type, which I did XL line, and then you could add a series. Real easy to add a series. First of all, if you want to change from your default chart type, do this. Record a macro to get whatever chart type you want, because else you would have to search for it on Google or MSDN. Then you add your series, and you always need this .new series, and then you need an index of your series, so series collection, and put an index here, and then add your values and add your x values, meaning the horizontal axis, and then add your the name of your series. So what is going to show up in the legend? What is going to show up in this legend down here? The same thing if you want to add another series. So I'm just going to skip over this. And then data labels. If you want data labels, use this apply data labels. And then if you want to change the position of the data labels, use data labels.select, selection.position, XL label position above, below, right. To put a title on the chart, I again had to do this, turn it off and then turn it on. I had to set it to false and then set it to true. So I did that dot has title is equal to false, and then dot has title is equal to true. And to set the chart title, you do dot chart title dot text. Set the title above using this MSO chart title element. Remember this set element stuff that we use a lot down here. MSDN. Remember this website, msdn.microsoft.com. Go there, search for stuff. It'll help you out. Okay, a couple more things and we're almost done. Again, using this set element things, I'm putting the chart above, I'm putting the legend on the bottom, I'm adding a category axis for the horizontal axis, and I'm adding a title to it right here. And then I select it and I could change the orientation to go upward or downward or horizontal. And then I put the vertical axis on. I put the title for the vertical axis on and I rotate it, and then I add text for that title right here. And then I just name the chart my chart by using .parent.name. Why .parent? Because the name field, the name property, doesn't belong to this ch object. It belongs to the parent of the ch object. So if I had to sum this video up in 3 points, this is like a summary of a summary. Number 1, be very careful when you do this. Number 2, go here to msdn.microsoft.com and put a search in here for things that you find interesting or hard to discover what they mean, looking at the recorded macro that you record. And number 3 is use this record macro functionality. It's the best way to learn everything in VBA besides watching my videos. Okay? It will teach you a lot, almost as much as I will teach you as you watch my videos. Okay, let's run this macro one more time just to show you that it works. I'll leave this on here, but I'm going to change this. I'll move it over here, and you're going to see it's going to delete this. So there'll only be one chart on this screen, on the worksheet. So I'm just going to run it. Let me minimize this so you can see. I'm just going to run it. It deleted that chart that was over here, and it made a new one that's over here. And I could change the positioning of this. Let me do that real quick. I'm just going to move it over. Oh. Did that move it over? There we go. This is actually the top. So, in conclusion, I just figured out that this first one is left, sorry, and the second one is top. Okay, you guys get that. Alright, so this was a video that was well worth watching, even through my mistake with this dot chart thing. And even if you find it confusing, because it shows you that there's a lot of things going on. This is real VBA programming when you're getting into series collections and set elements and objects that you're very, very unfamiliar with. I mean, not many people are familiar with all this set element, MSO elements, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So if you don't know what's going on, it's even good to even see things that you haven't seen before. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you see that you can create charts through VBA. And imagine if you had to create 100 charts. You could do that pretty easily. This is also called an embedded chart. I'll put up another video to actually do a chart worksheet, a chart sheet. But until that hour, I will direct you to excelvbasequel.com, where you can watch an enormous amount of videos on Excel VBA. You could become an expert. You could download all the code to practice along with the videos or practice by yourself real quickly for only $19.99. Put your email in here and sign up when new videos go up. They're free to watch, so put your email in and contact me here if you have any questions. Until the next video, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.